Hello, I'm Sensei Alex Kikuyo. The title of today's talk is Life is Suffering. Before we get into that, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, that'd be great too. The first noble truth of Buddhism states, life is suffering. However, when I tell people about Buddhism's first noble truth, they tend to argue with me. Usually, they'll tell me about all the areas of their life that do not involve suffering, that in fact are happy and joyful in their estimation. They'll tell me about how much they enjoy walking their dog, the pleasure they get from sitting down for a meal with family, the satisfaction that comes from raising children that are healthy and well-adjusted. And after they get done telling me about all the parts of their life that do not involve suffering, I respond by saying, exactly. Now you understand Buddhism's first noble truth, the truth of suffering. Because the first noble truth is not meant to scare us. It's not meant to be morbid. Rather, it's meant to shift our perspective, our view of life. It's my position that the reason we suffer so much in the West is our expectations of life are much too high. We think that every moment should be fun and exciting, and when that moment does not meet our exceedingly high expectation, we suffer. We sit down at the restaurant and enjoy a meal, and the meal is fantastic, but we can't stop thinking about the fact that the thermostat was a few degrees too low. We drive to the park to enjoy a soccer game with our friends, and the game goes great. We have a lot of fun, but we can't stop thinking about that guy who cut us off in the parking lot. In other words, if we go through life expecting that every moment is supposed to be joyful, then in those moments when we experience happiness, we don't care because that's how life is supposed to be. Instead, we place a spotlight on all the moments where we suffer, where we experience unhappiness. However, if we take the viewpoint of Buddhism's first noble truth, if we go into every moment of every day with the expectation that it will involve at least some level of suffering, then our viewpoint changes. Now, the spotlight is placed on all of those areas where we experience joy and happiness because that's unexpected. That's the exception to the rule. And in those areas where we experience suffering, where we get cut off in traffic, where the thermostat is too low, well, it doesn't bother us quite so much. We're able to practice acceptance because we understand that's just how life is supposed to be. Thus, if we understand not just intellectually, but in our hearts, the first noble truth of Buddhism, which states life is suffering, then life becomes anything but. And there are some simple reflections we can do in order to bring this teaching into our daily lives. Every time we experience happiness, we can just simply reflect on the alternative. Every time we open the refrigerator and it's full of food, we can reflect on the fact that there are people starving in the world. Every time we lay down to sleep in our nice comfy bed, we can reflect on what it would be like if we had to sleep on the floor without blankets. When we reflect on the suffering of life, we naturally experience gratitude for the places in our lives where we do not experience suffering. More than that, when we do experience suffering, we're better able to accept it because we understand it's natural and normal. In fact, it's to be expected because life is suffering. Amitabha.